What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 17 of X's and O's, Evan and Bros. I'm your most gracious host, Evan, and joining me through Zoom is Mr. Broderick Olin. What's up, buddy?
Looks like it's just a two-man show today.
It's a two-man show. We don't need anybody else. The amount of knowledge,
just me and you.
The amount of knowledge that's between these two gentlemen right here, unstoppable. I'm talking like the ancient one knowledge. Marvel reference. Speaking of Marvel, I don't know about you, but I've been playing Marvel's Avengers beta all weekend. And has some, obviously it's a beta, so it has some things I don't like. And a lot of it keeps like kicking me out of games, which is fine. But it's a beta, so it's supposed to do that, I guess. But dude, I tell you what, running around as Hulk or running around as Iron Man, it's legit. I really like it. It gets my fanboy pumping the blood.
I need to get settled down so I can play games or like be able to consistently watch basketball, because I'll be able to watch like a whole day's worth of games, and then I have to take a day off to move or do stuff. And like I wasn't able to watch Blazers Grizzlies. I had to keep up with the score on my phone.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we'll talk about that game specifically, and then we'll go into the playoffs because that's the only game that really mattered. And then we're going to give our picks for the first round. We're just doing first round. I don't want to do semis. I don't want to do finals. But I do think I'd have a couple underdogs winning.
I think I only have one underdog winning.
The East is pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. I think we'll agree on everything in the East.
The 4 and 5 seed is tough.
Oh, are you thinking about Pacers over the Heat?
Well, Heat's the underdog. Heat's the 5 seed.
They're technically the 5 seed?
Yeah, if I was going by that bracket, the one I was looking at.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were.
They could be the 4, but they should be the 4. If that's the case, if they're not the underdog in that one, all right. We'll talk about that though. But first,
keep talking. I'll look it up.
At first, though, I want to get started with the Houston Texans, and the Houston Texans of the NFL are looking to sign Deshaun Watson, to a long-term contract before the season starts. So Deshaun was drafted the same year that Patrick Mahomes was drafted. So 2017, if I'm not mistaken, he's part of the 2017 NFL draft. Right, Broderick? Mm-hmm. Deshaun Watson.
It's something like that.
He was the 12th pick. Patrick Mahomes was the 10th. That was silly. These two guys easily should probably have been 1 and 2. I mean, Deshaun probably should have been number. Now you are a Browns guy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Myles Garrett isn't a bad pick.
No, you can't.
When you look at it, he's an all-pro player.
He is. But also, it's just funny because again, like the Browns have been like a recycling door for NFL quarterbacks, especially in their draft picks. So you would have, if they had went Patrick Mahomes, or they had them both. That's what I'm saying. Just had the option. Mm-hmm. They went Myles Garrett, number 1 overall. Appropriate. I'm not saying that's a bad pick because the dude is an all-pro. You're right. But then again, also, then the Bears really screwed up.
The Bears screwed up. We at least got an all-pro player out of our pick. The Bears got Mitchell Trubisky.
Hey, I like Mitch. I'm actually a Mitch believer. I think you give him 1 more year at least to really at least be more aggressive. I kind of think he has that Jake Fromm mentality at UGA. I don't know how Jake Fromm's going to be in the NFL. Is
that a good thing?
No, it's not. But I need him to change that. I need him to just be, come on, throw it. Especially when it's like when they bring in a guy like Nick Foles, and that he's going to be pressuring, and they sign him to a pretty big deal, and he's going to be pressuring you. That's when you have to go all out. Anyway, so this is about the Deshaun Watson thing. This is smart, but the problem is, and I assume Deshaun probably will sign because he seems like a pretty loyal guy. But would you sign? Now, he would get franchise tagged, so I guess that's out of the question. There's almost no point because he could be like Kirk Cousins, where he's franchise tagged the majority of his prime career. But they took away his biggest weapon in in Nuke. But so DeAndre Hopkins, if I'm Deshaun Watson, the Texans have kind of, how do you say, underperformed.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of like.
It's weird to say that when they've made the playoffs the past several years, or at least it felt like they have.
Well, yeah, and I guess people forgot that they were up on the Kansas City Chiefs 24,
Yeah, by a lot.
And they relinquished that. So, and maybe they were like, maybe we need to run the ball. That's why we go get David Johnson. And I love David Johnson. I'm hoping David Johnson reinvents himself in, Houston and comes out being one of the best backs in the league. He's electrifying. But I don't know. They took DeAndre Hopkins, who by the NFL rankings he was the second best receiver. I think Michael Thomas was still ahead of him in the top 100 by his peers. It's just like, how do you do that? You don't see the Atlanta Falcons trading away Julio Jones, even though they're in the playoffs, out of the playoffs, into the playoffs, out of the playoffs. They stick by their dude. I don't know. I just feel like it was a silly move of that organization. That it was an organization move that I cannot trust. What are your thoughts?
I have a question before.
Oh, real quick. Actually,
have you hit that intro?
With Evan and Bro.
Yeah. I was about to say, Broderick.
Okay, it's X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Of course, it's a talk show, man, talking about sports. The one and only Evan Miller, yeah, that's your host, doing analyzing with the side of jokes. Ayy, X's and O's with Evan and Bros. X's and O's with Evan and Bros. X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Ayy, analyzing with the side of jokes.
I'm so used to like pointing to somebody and being like, hit that intro.
Eldad, hit that intro.
But my boy Eldad is probably fast asleep right now. But that's fine. All right.
Probably every other panelist is fast asleep right now.
Every other bro is knocked PTFO or NF. What KF? What's knocked the out? BK.
I'm just used to PTFO.
It is all right. PTFO. Yeah, pass. All right, that's why PTFO came to my mind first. All right, Broderick, give me your thoughts on Deshaun Watson possibly being a Houston Texan for the rest of his career, and what are the numbers you think they could be exploring?
Well, this makes sense to me just because in the NFL it's so difficult to find that quarterback that can lead you to a Super Bowl, and I do feel like Deshaun Watson does have that Super Bowl caliber play in him, because when you look at it, there's only a handful of quarterbacks that can go out and win you a Super Bowl, and that's excluding whether you have an awesome defense behind you or offensive weapons. Like you look at Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and like those caliber quarterbacks who, maybe not Tom Brady currently,
Russell,
but yeah, Russell Wilson, like these type of quarterbacks who, no matter what offensive talents you surround them around, no matter how many receivers, tight ends, or bad offensive line, they can go out and win you it. But numbers wise,
you don't like it?
I could see what I don't know. It's tough to tell because Watson has had an injury history.
Yes.
So if this continues, you're committing a lot of money to someone who may or may not be playing. When he's playing, he's amazing, but when he's not, you've already made some questionable moves, trading away DeAndre Hopkins. You let Matthew walk. I don't know how much I can trust this Texans team. What are the numbers exactly, or what is it?
Well, they haven't. They're just looking to sign him, so that's why.
Yeah, is it like? Is he looking for like Mahomes numbers though?
Well, that's the thing. If he can't,
Yeah.
he really can't because, and I love Deshaun Watson. I think I had him ranked 4th in our quarterback rankings. It's hard because the last quarterback to make a new deal was Patrick Mahomes, and usually they always adjust the market, right?
Yeah.
Like say if Dak got a deal done first. then it would have been that would have set. And then obviously he's worth more than Dak.
Mm-hmm.
But since Patrick Mahomes, and he's from the same draft class, same guy, and the same guy that just came back on your ass 24 down and beat you, is getting paid $500,000.
$500,000?
Yeah, he's getting paid over 500.
I think you mean $500 million.
Oh, $500 million. Damn, my bad. My bad. That's
you're really underpaying.
$500 Patrick Mahomes is taken from the Kansas City. That's how they're able.
$500K to play quarterback.
That's how they're able to re-sign Travis Kelce. But yes, so $500 million. I mean, I imagine you have to, and I think Dak is right around. He's around 33. Dax?
Not sure.
Because they got a deal done, right? I'm not crazy.
Did they? I thought
they got one done right before or is he playing on the tag?
Dak deal. Let's see.
Broderick's
my internet's so bad.
I know.
And go back on your point about the Pacers. Pacers are technically the 4th seed.
That's what I thought. I saw it on the graphic. I was like,
that
really?
That just slipped past me. But back to Dak Prescott. He has reportedly been offered a 5-year, $175 million extension.
So he got it, right?
And if he pays for the franchise tag, Prescott will make over $30 million. So he's making at least $30 million.
So I think Deshaun's probably worth. I would go right under that $40 million mark. I would go somewhere between.
I would say
like 38.
Like 38 to 42.
It starts at 38.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously by year 2, it's at 40, year 3, 41, something.
I don't think Dak has signed yet.
Okay. Well, then he's playing on the tag.
Yeah, I think he's playing on the tag. The stuff I'm reading, it's like one day ago, Dak Prescott optimistic about a long-term deal. I think if Dak Prescott was able to get a long-term deal done, then not Mahomes, Watson would just aim it for a little higher than Prescott.
Yeah. Agreed.
But Prescott not getting the deal done has hurt him a little bit.
Yeah. It's just hard to go off because, again, the last quarterback to get a deal done is Patrick Mahomes. And, I mean, I love Deshaun, but he's not Patrick Mahomes' money.
He's not Patrick Mahomes.
He's not Patrick Mahomes.
No one's Patrick Mahomes' money.
No, and that's nothing to be, nothing to laugh at or golf at, right? Because he really is he's really good. He's just not that really good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got a little NFL talk first because I feel like we always bombard people with our NBA love in the beginning of the show. So I'm glad we got a little bit of that done. Now, moving on to the NBA. The Portland Trailblazers took on the Memphis Grizzlies in a play-in style game for the 8th seed. If you were one of the teams, 8th seed, and if you were within 4 games, there was going to be a playing game, which, if you think about it, is very easy to do. It's not that hard, unless you're the Phoenix Suns, who is down a lot of games. But they came back and were 8-0. But then again, they were down so many games and it not matter.
Just short.
So, Trailblazers versus Memphis Grizzlies. I think everybody knew the Trailblazers were going to win this game. It just kind of the way they've been going about this tournament. If you haven't been rooting for the Suns. And only recently though, because once the Suns went 5-0 or 4-0, people were like, "Oh shit," now we can start paying attention.
I think it was the Booker game winner over Kawhi and PG.
So that was 4-0 or whatever.
I think that was 3-0.
3-0.
It was early. It was either 3-0 or 4-0. It was before everyone kind of recognized them.
Yeah. So I know it's just something nobody believed them. But people came into this bubble expecting Dame to try to because it's just the type of player he is, to put the Trailblazers on his back. And then every game he's been in have been competitive. They've been what you've wanted to watch them, so you watch them, and then that's why they're getting the national, recognition that they deserve. But obviously, CJ McCollum came out last night. He showed up.
He heard you. He heard you.
He heard me talk about him badly. I was like, he needs to get a good game in before the playoffs, or I'm might be counting the Trailblazers out. And he did. Next thing I know, all of Philadelphia Twitter saying Elton Brand trade for CJ McCollum no matter what. They think they can get every shooter that's like underperforming. They're like, get Buddy Hield, get CJ McCollum. I don't understand what assets they have to trade, because Thibault's not going anywhere. But so the Trailblazers beat them 126-122. Close game.
Very close game. Grizzlies had a legitimate shot to win this game.
They did. And every time I was checking on the score or whatever, keeping up with it, it was back and forth. I mean, I think the
Grizzlies had a lead with less than 2 minutes left.
I think they had the lead going into the fourth as well. So it's like, Ja could have got done. This is why I don't think enough people are talking about Ja. I think he gets, and it's going to be his entire, again, I compare it to the Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis draft. Mm-hmm. Everybody's always going to be talking about Anthony Davis or Zion Williamson, right?
Ja Zion.
No, Ja is Damian Lillard in this scenario, because Damian Lillard was the rookie of the year, Anthony Davis's year. Mm-hmm. But everybody talks about...
Oh, you're saying people are like Zion's the Anthony Davis of this class. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Yes. Zion's Anthony Davis of this class, where he's going to continue. Ja is just going to get overshadowed, disrespected for no reason, even though he's being an all-time, he might, who knows, but he might end up being a perennial all-star and all-decade team. Who knows for the 2020s. But it won't be enough, because Zion Williamson will always be there, most likely, looking over your shoulder. So, Ja, 42 minutes, had to probably. He was probably dying at the game. 35 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 13 of 28. Not bad. I like it.
Almost 50%.
3 of 6, 50% from 3. 6 of 8 from free throw line. He obviously had to play his heart out, and he did. Brooks, 20. Valanciunas, 22. Anderson, 10. I mean, and even Brandon Clark, who continues to show off his ability. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you can't keep Brandon Clark on the bench your entire life. Now, they might find a way to put Jaren at the 5 and put Brandon Clark at the 4. Something.
What do you do with Valanciunas?
Well, you'd have to, because that contract, you don't want to have that contract. Mm-hmm. I think they just took him to absorb contract. I don't think Valanciunas is in their long-term plans. You know what I'm saying? I like Valanciunas. I just don't think he's a starting center. I just don't think he's in part of their long-term plans. But obviously, the real talk of the town is Jusuf Nurkic, who came up huge. The guy who the report came out yesterday that lost his grandmother before the game, which it's always kind of that kind of thing happens a lot,
Mm-hmm. I lost you for the past 30 seconds.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he lost his.
I had no idea.
He lost his grandmother before the game.
Okay, you're talking about Nurkic. Okay.
Yeah. Jusuf Nurkic, and he has been really good. I didn't realize how much they needed him, the Trailblazers, but he really has been that. Obviously people talk about Dame and his 61 and his 50-point games, but Nurkic is definitely the unsung hero. And now people also talk about Carmelo Anthony. I think again, Carmelo, and I love Carmelo, but he's getting to that point where, if he has a really good game, people gush over it, right? But if he just has a normal 8-point game, which he's had a few of those in this bubble, nobody talks about it. It's just blind, right? Mm-hmm. So people only want to talk about him when he's
like a glorified role player right now.
Yeah, which your role players are supposed to go get 8, go get 20. Go get 8, go off to get 20. He's not going to consistently give you 20.
Yeah, the reason why the Trailblazers are winning these games is because like when you watch the Nets game, they did an amazing job with Damian Lillard and forcing him to pass it as soon as he got into the half court with the double team, and just Melo was able to hit shots, Nurkic was able to hit shots. That's going back to the Nets game. I wasn't able to watch the Grizzlies game, but I saw some highlights, and Carmelo again hits a clutch corner 3. Melo has done great things for this team because he's able to step up and hit those big shots.
It is the big moments
when they crowd Lillard and McCollum.
Agree.
Yeah.
It has been those big moments where Carmelo has stepped up. But let's talk about, again, Nurkic put up 22 points, 21 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks. I mean, and he's only, 24 years old? 25?
I have no idea how old he is.
The dude is going to be here for a long time, and hopefully in a Trailblazers uniform.
He's 25.
CJ, 29, woke up. Thank you for listening, CJ. Got up 11 of 19. Very efficient. 3 of 7 from 3. I mean, I think it was nice because Damian Lillard didn't have to shoot it over 20 times. He got 15 up, which I think is still scoring 31. So, I mean, I think, that bodes well for Portland, especially when we make our first round playoff picks.
And I like what I saw from Gary Trent, even though he didn't stuff the scoring table, like only 8 points, 3 rebounds and 1 assist. He got 5 steals and 2 blocks. He was still being effective on the floor, even though he wasn't getting the shots.
So if I'm going by these minutes, do you see them?
Yeah. It looks like they only played 5 players.
It looks like they only played 5 players. And it looks like they literally had a lineup of 3 guards between Dame, McCollum, and Gary. And then they had Carmelo playing the 4 and Nurkic playing the 5.
Yeah. Grizzlies were a lot more spread out.
Which I think matches up well with the Grizzlies, actually. I think that you can afford to have 3 guards. I do.
Yeah, this is concerning when you roll out a lineup of basically just 5 players.
Oh yeah, it's concerning.
This won't work for a 7-game series.
No,
I know
they might steal 1 or 2.
Your bench shortens up in the playoffs, but you still go 8 deep. Man, if you're besides Gary, I mean Zach Collins only played 7 minutes.
I know,
and he was starting.
And
basically Gary Trent started over him. So then you look at your bench and it's like, all right, Hassan Whiteside played 14 minutes. No one else played more than 10 minutes.
I'm glad they gave in Nurkic. And again, I wasn't really watching the game, but Nurkic must have been cooking. I mean, he was cooking. But you got to give that man a break. He still is coming off of pretty devastating leg injury.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if Portland lost this game, I would have taken the Grizzlies because they would have been tired for the next game. Look at the Grizzlies. It's pretty spread out besides Ja. Like when you see...
Yeah. I mean, next one, Dylan Brooks at 38.
Valanciunas 34, but the rest are in their 20s or mid-10s, so they would have been rested and fine.
Yeah.
God, Trailblazer. Dame only sat for 3 minutes total. McCollum only sat for 4 minutes. They would have been exhausted if they didn't win this game. But, so I guess they just took it as we need to win this game now.
I mean, it was a must-win.
they played this like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and it was for them. Because, I think... Now, if I was voting, yes, Phoenix did go undefeated, but I would have probably voted for Damian Lillard as bubble MVP.
He did win bubble MVP.
He did?
Yeah.
I thought.
No, it was Lillard.
Well, hell yeah. Me and the media agree. Me and the media agree. Did the coach won for Phoenix, right? Monty Williams.
Was.
Yeah,
I think the first team bubble was. I mean, it's the most obvious choices. It was like Dame, Booker, Warren, Luka, and Harden. No, I don't think it was Harden. Was the last one. It may have been.
Basically all guards.
Yeah, it was basically all guards.
So
let me see if I can find it.
I'm glad you brought up Harden because this is going to segue into our next little thing we're going to talk about to fill this little time period we'd have before we hit pick 'em. Grant Plunkett, who's not here, who's been a bro on the show. He's a LeBron blowhard, but he had a tweet yesterday. Damian Lillard is one of his favorite players too. He actually, from what I understand, might have overtook LeBron as his favorite player in the league. Keep that in mind. But did you see the tweet, Broderick?
No, I haven't. Tell me.
So he was replying to a guy that he was agreeing with a guy where the dude was saying how what Damian Lillard is doing, if James Harden was doing if you flip the names with Dame.
Oh, I remember seeing this now. Yeah,
with
I remember
Dame and switch it with James Harden, nobody would be talking about it. This would be a non-news.
Mm-hmm.
And Grant was agreeing where James Harden is just, and that's not a knock on Dame, but that's why James is just on a whole different level. James Harden. And I 1,000% agree. That is why, James Harden is considered a top 5 player. And I don't know why we've gotten to this world where it's fun to disrespect James Harden, but he really is one of the premier players in the league. Even when KD comes back, I will put him in the top 5.
Yeah, because when people talk about best scorers in the NBA, very few people bring up James Harden's name, even though he, I think, is the leading scorer ever since he's gone into the league. Like, dude just puts up points.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's taking like 20 free throws a game. I know it's not actually 20, but it seems like it's 20 free throws a game. He knows how to get to the line. You can't bash him, bash the rules like you said the other episode.
Well, and the thing is, the dude is winning, and we've shat on their rosters, but Houston does go out and make moves, which I respect Daryl Morey, because he went out and got Chris Paul, and he went out and got Russell Westbrook. He's doing the best he can to get some of these bigger stars, but the role players and he went out and got Dwight Howard. The role players and the other starters just aren't quality players in my eyes. They're okay, but I think they're more like a lot of the starters they usually are running out there throughout the years are bench players. They're not starters in the NBA. And
I just think they've had a stroke of bad luck, like with the Chris Paul injury, because they've had
they're stars, yeah.
Like last year, the Rockets probably should have been the Warriors in the playoffs. They had the team, they had the players. I disagree when you say they have bench players out there starting.
No, I said Chris Paul is good. Russell Westbrook is good.
No,
but these rosters are ass, man. You cannot deny that.
No, like the past 3 or 4 years, they've had a good enough roster to win it all. They arguably should have at least one of those years. Like when you go prior to the Chris Paul era, yes, you have an argument where these role players are bad, and you were bashing, I think, EJ for him saying like, Harden's not good. And we were like, his role players were terrible. Like when you look at his first Western Conference appearance, his best player was like Pat Bev because Dwight Howard was playing terrible. But when you look at the recent, maybe not this team, but even when you look at this team, like Robert Covington's still a good player.
Oh, yes. All right.
PJ Tucker is still a very good player. Like those.
Hold on, Roger. We need to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We'll continue this conversation though, because I love it. We'll be right back.
Gotcha.
Hey guys, take this moment to like and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Curbside Entertainment and Curbside Network, respectively. You can also find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to X's and O's with Evan and Bros, episode 17. Broderick, you were saying about James Harden, we were disagreeing that these teams that surround him, yes, I'll give you Robert Covington. He's good. He's a starting caliber small forward, power forward. I agree. I like Robert. PJ's not a center. PJ's old, 30. I think he's 35. He should be coming off the bench as a backup 4 or 3.
I disagree. I think he's still a starter.
Dude, watch AD put 40 on him.
That's AD. That's like saying like, oh, watch Hard put 30 on someone. Like,
right,
it's gonna happen.
Watch Valanciunas go put 40 on PJ Tucker.
Well, they're out the playoffs, so
You're not going to see it, but
we won't be seeing it.
All right, watch Nurkic. I don't pick him. I could pick any of these centers, and all right. Here, give me a center. I'll tell you who's better than PJ Tucker.
Well, PJ Tucker's not a center, but he's still a starting caliber player.
All right, put him at power forward. I'll give you 10 guys better than PJ Tucker at power forward.
Okay, that doesn't mean he's not a starting caliber player. Yes, you can name 10 better power forwards. That doesn't mean PJ Tucker's not a good player.
I don't know.
Like you just said, Robert Covington's a good starter, but I can name 10 small forwards better than him or 10 power forwards better than him.
I don't know. I might have Robert, at least power forward wise, up there.
In your top 10?
Power forward wise? Maybe. Power forward's weak. It's kind of like shooting guard. It kind of like, it's really top heavy and then it kind of drops off after like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm. But back to the Rockets, the past 3 or 4 years, I think they've definitely had the roster to compete and win a championship, especially those Chris Paul years. This year, we'll see. I don't feel too good about this Rockets team, especially without Russell Westbrook, and their first round matchup is difficult.
Yeah, their first round. All right, so let's get to that. Let's get to the playoffs.
Pick them.
Yeah, let's talk about the first round. We'll
do East first because I feel like East is
pretty easy. Definitely easy. And I think we'll agree. There is the 4 or 5 we'll talk, I think maybe more. But so first up, we'll go the 1 seed and the 8 seed. We got the Milwaukee Bucks, number 1. We got the Orlando Magic as the 8th. I thought we'd be looking at the Brooklyn Nets here at the 8th spot, but I guess not.
I thought so too, but the Nets surprised us.
Hey, they got a couple at Orlando. Orlando started off strong, but again, I keep reiterating this Jonathan Isaac injury, not just taking away depth, but I think hit them mentally. They were riding high. They were looking really good, but I think they were 3-0. I think they were one of the teams that were 3-0. Then they played the Pacers, right?
They smacked the Nets early on, and then they played again recently, and the Nets just completely had their way. Yeah,
the Jonathan Isaac injury just, I think, took it all out. Vucevic has played really good in the bubble, but he needs to get out of Orlando.
Still don't know why he was playing last game.
Yep. Yeah, you were pissed. You were texting me.
I was like, why is Vucevic playing in the third quarter? I was like, they had this game won because I didn't think he would be playing at all.
Yeah.
And then I checked the score. I'm like, Vucevic got 10 of 11.
Got like 20 points at half.
And he has like 23 points, 20 minutes, and like a plus 20. And I look at the Pelicans. The best player that's playing for them is Josh Hart.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. Like, why is Vucevic even in this game?
Yeah, he didn't get the memo. But whatever. Magic won that game. Give it the dub.
Pelicans made it close. If Vucevic wasn't playing, Pelicans win that game.
Probably would have won that game for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this game. Bucks Magic. It's funny with it being now. Everybody's in this bubble, right? Mm-hmm. So you can pretty much take home court out of the way. Mm-hmm. You can. I think you can. I've watched those monitors. If I was playing a game, I wouldn't have. I mean, how do you even know where you're really playing at, right?
There's no home court.
There's no home court. And those electronic fans don't affect anything. So, and predict how many games it goes.
Okay.
So, obviously, I'm going Bucks. And I will go. They just seem so defeated, man.
I'm going Bucks in 4.
You will go 4. I'll go 4
I'll go
too.
4. I'll say it's a sweep.
I'll say
Like,
sweep too.
When I was looking at that Pelicans Magic game, the Magic, even with some of their starters in, were struggling so much with paint scoring.
Yeah.
And the Bucks will just dominate them down low. So I think this is in 4. I don't think this is a competitive series at all.
I'll meet you there too. I'm going Bucks in 4 as well.
Let me get this down in notes.
Yeah, get them down because I think these end games will come down huge. So let's go to the 2 seed now. Raptors versus the 7 seed Brooklyn Nets. Did not have the Brooklyn Nets being here. Shocking to say. I've gone on record saying that this is a G League squad. This is literally, and so they've come out with some fire. Chris LeVert has been playing out of his mind.
Harris has been great.
And yeah, and I think Chris. I think people have forgotten about Chris. Chris was doing this last year, the year before. Karis LeVert. Sorry, Karis LeVert was doing this last year, with Russell before Kyrie even got there. So people need. He's a big 2 guard. He's got the body. He's got the size, and he's got the scoring ability. So people need to remember him. But he will take a backseat when Kyrie and KD get there.
He took a stupid shot against the Blazers.
Well,
I'm like, sorry, little quick sidetrack. If the game's like 1 point or tied, I always say go to the basket. Don't take a deep contested 2, and especially with only like 2 seconds on the clock. When you've got 10 seconds, attack the basket.
Yeah, because you might get a foul. If you're with
get a foul, and if not, people are going to crash, and you've got plenty of opportunities for a second chance board. Longer shots mean longer rebounds, less chances for another.
Yeah, and it has a chance of going out of bounds as well if you take a longer shot. So I agree. You might as well you might as well attack the basket, and I'm in full agreement with you. So the Raptors Nets, I'm going Raptors, but I'm going Raptors in 5. I think the Brooklyn Nets might sneak one out just because that's kind of what they've been doing in the bubble, especially against the teams where you don't think that they will win. They sneak one out. I think Karis will go off for like a 30-point game at some point, and that's the one they win, but he can't carry this team to more than 1 win.
I agree. I'd said Raptors in 5 too.
Raptors in 5?
I think there's going to be like game 1 or game 2 where the Nets will sneak one out, because it happened last year with the Magic. The Magic stole game 1, and then the Raptors won out, and they won in 5.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're going to see something very similar happen. So kudos to the Nets. I did not think they would be here. I counted them out way before this whole thing started. I thought I'd be looking at like a Wizards situation where they've gotten exceedingly worse. And went down in draft position. I mean, they couldn't change draft position, but they, are below draft picking teams. So
kudos to the Nets.
Yes, and coaching.
This will help them so much next year when they're really healthy. Now LeVert's ready for these big time moments. So if KD or Kyrie defer, which I can't see either of them deferring to Karis LeVert, but if it's like a mellow situation where he's open, need a corner 3, LeVert's ready to step up.
But I think LeVert's going to be a nice little third option.
Well, we're forgetting about Spencer Dinwiddie's still there too.
Well, yeah, Spencer's there. Karis, they got good guards. This Nets team
can score the ball.
They could score the ball, and you got Allen, and you got DeAndre. Hopefully, just focusing on the defensive end and just rebounding, defensive rebound. So this team next year, I mean, 2 seed. 3 seed? I mean, 1st seed? Somewhere around there, maybe?
I think it's definitely in the top half.
Yeah, top half.
I can't see him being anything lower than 3.
Yeah, me either. I was going to say 1 through 3. All right. Speaking of 3, let's move on to the 3 seed. I think this is Broderick's probably best team in the bubble right now. Maybe. If I'm reading your mind.
Maybe not best.
You've been gushing over the Celtics.
Yeah, they've been playing well. They've been playing very well.
So the 3 seed Boston Celtics versus the 6 seed 76ers. I had the 76ers as a top 5 team in the league going into the bubble. They are officially not in the top 22. We
tried telling you.
But I will say this last game, Joel Embiid did play, which I don't know why. I don't know why Joel Embiid played.
Another player where like, why'd they play?
But they got the most production out of their bench players, out of their role players that I have seen probably all year. Alec Burks has played really well. Brett Brown's finally playing him. I don't know why he chose not to play him, but he's finally playing him. Nato still sucks, but he's still got like 14 points. So that should tell you something good. Brett
Brown's gone.
He's gone.
He's a goner.
And I feel so bad because I do like Brett Brown. I really do. He looks like a nice guy. He looks like a fun guy. He looks like a good guy to get a beer with. But his coaching is ass. So he needs to be gone. So don't waste. Give me one more year with Ben and Joel and Tobias. And try to, I guess, try to get as many shooters as you can and just let those guys focus on rebounding.
Yeah. I say trade Ben.
Right now?
Yeah, I really like Ben Simmons.
Yeah, to your Cleveland Cavaliers. That's why you
No, not just that. I just don't think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are a good fit.
Too much in the...
You need to do the 1 in 4 out with Embiid because Embiid's so dominant. You just need to surround him with some knockdown shooters. And Ben Simmons just kind of he doesn't extend the court when he's in the game. He's kind of a liability on offense.
All right,
yes, he can score the ball in his
trade
zone,
Ben Simmons to Golden State.
And who you getting back?
Get Draymond Green.
What? I just said they need shooting.
Get Andrew Wiggins. Get Draymond Green. And the number one. And what do they have the number 1 pick?
I mean, they still have to do the lottery and stuff, but It's guaranteed a top 5.
Top 5 pick. Ben Simmons takes the Draymond Green role. Give him Steph. Give him Clay.
I don't know how much I like it.
You just don't like it because you know they would win the West.
That team would not win the West.
Really? You don't think so?
I don't think that team would win the West.
Interesting. Okay. All right. That's a discuss. We'll talk about. I know we've talked about Ben Simmons going somewhere or whatever, but we'll
talk about off-season stuff later.
Yeah. So Celtics 76ers. I'm going Celtics. I'll probably. I tell you what. I don't see anybody. I don't think Tice can really guard Joel, and I don't think
no one on that team can guard Joel.
Well, and that might be saying something in the entire league. I don't know if anybody can really guard Joel. So I'll go Boston in 6. I could see the 76ers taking 2 superhuman efforts from Joel Embiid, but it won't be enough because, like you've said before, the Boston Celtics have 4 guys in their starting lineup alone that can easily get 20. It just matters if they want to or not, you know?
Yeah. It's like, what do you value more? Embiid being unstoppable or 4 Celtic basically guards who can go and get you 20? And I don't see anyone on this Sixers team that can cover like 2. Like maybe you can slow down 1 or 2, but you can't slow down all of them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can't. It's just it's too many guys that can go and get 20. And then again, say Tatum has an off shooting night. Jaylen Brown's going to have 20. Say Jaylen Brown has an off 20 night. Gordon Hayward's going to have 20.
When Tatum had the worst game of probably his career, the Celtics still almost beat the Bucks.
Yeah.
And probably should have won that game if it weren't for the refs.
Shut up. I won that game in pickup, so leave it alone, Broderick.
In my mind, I won that game. I still think I won that game.
So what do you say?
Yeah, I'm going Celtics in 5. I think Embiid will be good enough to get you 1. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 6, but I don't feel good about the 76ers team. They still don't know how to implement Al Horford. He's still struggling so much on this Sixers team. And when they added him, I was like, this is going to be great. This is going to push him to the next level. And Horford does not look like himself.
I don't know why he dropped off. so far. It has been.
I think it's Brett Brown doesn't know how to use him.
You do?
He's not a good fit next to Embiid, and then he's not used to coming off the bench, so Horford just doesn't know how to adjust right now. He's been a starter his whole life.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Pacers Heat. Now, this is the one. Pacers are the 4 seed. They went up in the seeding. Shockingly, they earned it, though. TJ Warren has been playing out his freaking mind. First team all bubble. Good for him. This is tough because the Heat did the Heat win the last matchup?
I think Heat swept them in the match.
So they went 2-0. So
actually, no, technically they did because they lost. I mean, it was all bench players, but they lost the last game against the Pacers.
They did lose the last game. Okay, so they split it 1-1.
In the bubble, but I think the Heat beat them in the regular season.
In the bubble. I'm just talking bubble. Hey, bubble's so different. Bubble's so different from regular season.
1-1, but can you really count the last one when Haslam's playing like 28 minutes?
True. All right. Pacers Heat. No home court advantage. I have to go Heat, even though I really want the Pacers to win. I just don't think Victor's looked good, but I don't think he can do enough to, and I don't think TJ is going to go off for 30 every game. I think Jimmy's going to make an initiative to stop TJ from scoring 30. And Jimmy's still a really good defender. Jimmy might score 2 baskets this entire series, but he will cause TJ Warren to also score 2 baskets this entire series. I think Bam will be huge. I think Bam will probably dominate Miles Turner.
Yes. Miles Turner is already struggling offensively. With Bam on him, I can't see Turner having a good series.
So I'm going to go Heat. I'll give the Heat Heat in 6 as well. I'll go Heat in 6.
I have Heat in a sweep.
Oh my God.
I tried. I'm going to be bold. I mean, the Pacers aren't going to win this series. At least in my eyes, they aren't. So I guess we'll both be right. It's just who gets it.
Yeah. Who gets closer? What if it splits 5? Should we go in the middle? If you say sweep and I say 6, would we just meet in the middle in 5? Heat in 5?
should we both just say Heat in 5?
Should we just say Heat in 5?
I guess Heat in 5. I mean, I guess we'll stick 4 and 6.
We'll
but
do
if it's
4
5,
and 6,
then
but it's 5. No, this will be. Yeah. Do you think those games will be competitive? You just think Heat?
When I just watched the Heat Pacers when Jimmy and Dragic were playing, the Heat just dominated.
Hey, Broderick has looked really good.
He's looked really good.
So,
and the only player on this Heat team that's really struggled is Kendrick Nunn. But with Dragic just emerging, you can just flip them.
And Hero's
Hero's playing well. Duncan Robinson's playing well. Bam's playing well. Jimmy, basically almost all these Heat players are playing well across the board, and hopefully Derrick Jones Jr. recovers well. He took a scary fall.
I think he's out. Or did it show negative? Did it come out negative?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it.
It was like a neck injury. I think that's what they were ruling it, something like that.
It's scary, but yeah, this Heat team is deep. Pacers just with Sabonis out, Warren with the foot injury, Turner not playing well, Oladipo's not really back to his full self. Maybe if Sabonis and Warren were healthy, I would say Heat in 6, but I feel like the Pacers are limping at this point.
Yeah. Well, I thought they were limping coming into the playoffs or into the bubble, but they proved me wrong. So that's why I'm like, all right, I'll give you 2. Mm-hmm. All right.
I want to give them more, but I don't.
So to recap, we have Bucks in 4, both agree. Raptors both in 5, we agreed. Celtics, you have them in.
I have them in 5.
In 5, I have them in 6. Pacers, Heat, I have them in 6. Pacers in 6. Project has a Heat sweeping the Pacers.
You have Pacers in 6?
No, I meant Heat in 6. My bad. Heat in 6. Project also has the Heat, but sweeping the Pacers. All right, let's move on to the way more competitive side of the bracket. Lakers, Blazers. This is the Lakers' worst nightmare. This is everybody's favorite dream, though, if you're not a Lakers fan. All right, when I said I had a couple underdogs winning, this is the side of the bracket. Your eyes.
Are you really about to say Blazers are going to beat the Lakers?
I'm going Blazers in this series. I don't think I'm serious. I do not think when I said the Trailblazers match up with the Lakers extremely well, I really believed it. Where I think you could throw enough forwards and centers, Nurkic and Whiteside. You tell Whiteside, all right, I'll give you $2 million, whatever it takes, a contract incentive to stop Anthony Davis. I would throw the freaking barn at him. I don't care. Push him to the ground. Detroit Piston his ass. Seriously. I think the guard play, I said this is how you attack the Lakers. Strong guard play. Damian Lillard, CJ finally had a game. His confidence is up there again. He's good. He's ready to go. If he had another 7-point game, 8-point game, and played again a full 38, 40 minutes, count them out. But he's back. He's good. His back hurts, but we're good. So Gary's still fine. Gary would give you around 8 to 15, maybe 20 if you're lucky off the bench. Dude, Anthony Davis has been on and off. He's been hot and cold this entire bubble. I don't know if he's really figured it out yet. Even LeBron has not had the best shooting. Yes, LeBron's come up big in the last 2 to 3 games. He's kind of looking back to his normal self. But he needs that running mate, and the role players are still garbage. They don't know who they're playing. They've been Frank Vogel has been switching people in and out of the lineup, which that's what I would be doing too, to try to see what works. But they still have not stepped up. At least the Caldwell Popes, the Danny Greens of the world, the 2 guys they really need to be good have not been good. So that is why I'm going to pick the Trailblazers to win this series. I'll say, I got to say, I think the Trailblazers go 7. I said this series goes 7. I think Dame time, he's going to add LeBron James to his deep 3 game winner catalog of players that he's just wetting in the mouth. I'm going Dame and the Trailblazers. I think Nurkic is going to be the deciding factor, not Carmelo Anthony. I'm going Nurkic is the deciding factor of this series. The dude's going to be really good. I'm going Trailblazers in 7. Tell me I'm wrong, Broderick, and tell me why I'm wrong.
You're wrong because the Blazers couldn't contain an injury-riddled Grizzlies team.
Yeah.
How do you contain LeBron James? Name one player on this Blazers team that can guard LeBron James.
Carmelo Anthony. He's in his head. He has room space.
Cap. Yeah, and no depth from the Blazers. Yeah, Lakers in 5.
Oh my God, really?
Lakers in 5. I'll give the Blazers 1 game. Blazers, offensively, they're great. And I've been a big proponent saying offense is the best indicator for a good playoff team and a team that'll make it far.
You have been.
The Blazers have such a defensive liability. And
that's why I said Whiteside has to be really good.
Yeah, and I don't think he will be because he's not getting played.
He's getting paid like
14 minutes a game.
He's getting paid $27 million to play 14 minutes. I wish I was Whiteside so bad.
Dude, and no one on this roster can even really guard Anthony Davis. Like Nurkic is a great player, but
Hezonja
can guard Anthony Davis. I can't believe I have it on record that you have Blazers in 7.
Have it on record.
Wow.
Hey, you're gonna be so shocked when I pull this one out of my ass.
I don't think you will. Wow. You really have Blazers in 7.
I have Blazers in 7. This is on tape. This is on audio.
You know you can still change it. You can still change it. I'm giving you this brief moment.
We're going to move on to the scene.
I don't even have to really describe why the Blazers won't win because they won't.
You know what's crazy? All right, so I'm picking these solely on who I want to win the series. So this one's going to
Let
give
me guess,
me.
you have like Clippers and 4.
I have the Mavs winning this series.
What?
I want the
Wow.
Mavs to win this series so bad. That's why I was praying that the Clippers, because I wanted the Clippers to win as well. I like the Clippers too. And no, dude, the Clippers will probably win this series, but I really want the Mavs to win. Yeah, I'm still going. I really want the Mavs to win. I'm going Mavs in 6 versus the Clips.
I say Clippers in 6.
Yeah. I would have gone. I mean, honestly, the smart play.
I mean, this is the bubble, so anything can happen, and I'm still kind of judging it.
How was Luka not first team?
He was.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Wow, you really just you have the Lakers and Clippers both losing.
And I want to move to LA. Yeah, I'm one of the people who really believe that Luka is the future and the face of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I am in full. I don't think this Mavs team should even be the 7 seed. I mean, outside of Porzingis and Luka, I mean, this team is okay. They have shooters. They have a couple shooters. They have a couple guys who can get you buckets. But I mean, and Rick Carlisle has done a masterful job of being their head coach. But I just think Luka, he's going to have that type of series where he does emerge as a top 5 player in the NBA. You know? And you can only have so many top 5 players in the NBA. And yeah. I think Luka will. That's how talented the league is. I think Luka will emerge as the guy that will dethrone LeBron James as the best player in the NBA.
You don't think that's Giannis or KD?
I mean, KD is already what, 29?
KD's in his 30s.
Oh, well, there you freaking go. Giannis, yeah, yes. I just think Luka's more. I think more people are excited about Luka than Giannis. But I think Giannis will probably be number 1 for like the next 4 years, 3 years. But I think people will be rooting for Luka more than Giannis, if that makes sense. Because Giannis already has an MVP. But all right.
Probably will have another.
Before you give your thoughts, we're going to take a quick break. Okay. On this matchup. To reiterate, I have Mavs in 6 over the Clippers. Broderick will give his reasonings for the Clippers in 6 over the Mavs. We'll be right back.
Take this moment to like and subscribe. And also follow us on the Instagram and Twitter at Curbside Entertainment and at Curbside Network, respectively. You can also find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to X and O's with Evan and Bros. Joining me through Zoom is Mr. Broderick Olin.
Yo.
All right, buddy. So let's talk. Your turn to rebuttal. Why do you have the Clippers in 6 over the Mavs?
Clippers have championship experience. They have depth. I still think they have problems, and I don't have them as my favorites, but Mavs, I will give them, they have the best offensive rating in the NBA, and I think that will get them a few games. There's just too much playoff inexperience on this team. And I can't really see anyone checking Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I've really liked what I've seen from Paul George. He looks a lot more aggressive, and he looks more comfortable in this offense. But, man, when you look at this Clippers team, I think they just match up a lot better with the Mavs. And, I mean, Porzingis hasn't been the most aggressive, too. When he scores, I think 30 or more.
But he's still putting up 30.
No, but when he scores under 30, they lose every game in the bubble. If they go above 30, I think they've won all of them but one. Porzingis needs to be more aggressive. But yeah, Clippers, I can't see them losing in the first round.
I mean, if they lose in the first round, it's definitely a disappointing season. Same for the Lakers.
I think if the Clippers don't win at all, it's a disappointing season.
Yeah. No, they made the moves too. They are supposed to have really good bench players, really good, guys who around the league could start for a few organizations. But Morris has underperformed pretty much ever since he got there. Shamet has not looked well. He's not looked good. Pat Bev, he's looked okay, but he hasn't really played a lot. So
Reggie Jackson has not looked good.
Reggie and Harold hasn't. So that's probably why you're right. You could see the Mavs stealing a couple.
That's why the Mavs stealing a couple, just because there's so much uncertainty around this Clippers team, but they still have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I love how you say Paul George's name first.
Well, I said Kawhi Leonard first during my argument too. I mean, they're both great players.
Maybe. Best two wing defenders?
Drew Holiday's up there.
Okay. I love Drew. All right. Let's move on. We got Nuggets as the 3 seed. Jazz is the 6 seed. I'm going Nuggets. I don't know. Donovan Mitchell might will them a win. I'll go Nuggets in 5.
I had the same thing.
Yeah, Nuggets in 5.
The Jazz's offensive problems are just too big of a concern. I mean, defensively they still play fine, but offensively, I don't know where they're going to get the production to match Denver. And in playoffs, it's offense is the better indicator, and Denver's offense is really good, especially the fact that they haven't played their starters in the fourth quarter and are still competitive. So I think I want to say Denver in 4, but watching Donovan Mitchell go off that one game against Denver and willing them back in.
Yeah.
I mean, they still lost that game, but just kind of that possibility of Donovan Mitchell just going off one game. Like they could be down 3-0 or 2-0, and then Donovan Mitchell feels that pressure and he just goes off.
Yeah, agreed. Or 3-0, down 3-0, goes off for the last game, and then obviously he's too exhausted, and that's why.
Donovan Mitchell can't afford to have a bad game. Neither can Mike Conley, because so many people on this Denver team can score the ball. So if Jokic has a bad game, MPJ could still score. Jamal Murray can still score. Hell, you could put Bol in off the bench. He can still knock down some threes. But Donovan Mitchell, I have Booker as better than Donovan Mitchell just because Mitchell is still not great passing out of pick and roll and just he hasn't developed that passing ability yet. So when you look at him when he drives down the lane, he doesn't really look for shooters, and he's very bad in deciding whether to lob or to do a bounce pass on pick and rolls. He's also late in deciding in these. And if the Jazz want a chance, they need to do more Conley pick and rolls with Gobert, and hopefully they can get Conley going and have Mitchell do more isolation stuff. But it's tough looking at this Jazz team trying to find ways to get that offensive production.
Yeah, I mean, even if, say, you get Gobert 20. I mean, I don't know if Conley has 20 in him anymore on a consistent basis. And so how do you get a guy outside of Donovan Mitchell scoring 30? I mean, all the role players can't really go and score. I just see so many guys for the Nuggets. When I was saying I think I like Nuggets depth maybe more than any team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Them, Raptors, somewhere around there. Celtics have some good depth.
Heat have some good depth too.
The Heat have some good depth. Shame. I did like the Clippers depth, but like they haven't looked good. So it's like hard.
There are concerns, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just hard to say that their depth is up there. But I think the Nuggets probably have the best bench that I really like. And, Murray's really just getting back. That Jazz game, I think, was his first one really back with the, playing over 30 minutes. And he still was getting buckets. It was struggling. It was tough buckets to watch because he was falling all over the court. But I think Jokic is going to come up huge. The dude is one of the smartest players in the NBA. And then Michael Porter. I mean, who's going to guard Michael Porter for the Jazz team?
Royce O'Neal, maybe.
Yeah, still. I mean, last picture I remember of Royce is giving a little turnaround layup to Jokic for the tie. That's the last thing I remember of Royce O'Neal. So I'm done with him. No, I just think
they need an upgrade over him.
Yeah, the Jazz firepower. Well, they did, but he's currently out. They
need an upgrade.
Yeah, upgrade. We're in agreement. The Nuggets firepower is just too much. I might have the Nuggets Nuggets in my Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, depending on how the Clippers look this first round, or I guess for you, the Mavs.
For the Mavs, for me. Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, honestly, I believe probably the Clippers going to win that series, but I'm holding out hope that Lucas scores 50, has a 50-point triple-double. That's what's going to take for the Mavs to win. Consistently.
I wouldn't be too surprised if Clippers Mavs pushes a bunch, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it's over early. That's a hard one to predict.
It is.
That's why I tried doing like a middle Clippers in 6.
Yeah, I like it. Again, I'm not mad at that. All right. Last one up. The 4 and 5th seed. We got Houston at the 4, Thunder at the 5. I think we're going to agree on an outcome, but the games might be different. The Thunder, for me, have either been really good or really bad. I could see. I just don't see James Harden or Russell Westbrook losing this series more so than just Chris Paul, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Houston. I'll go Houston in 6.
I'm saying Thunder in 6.
Oh!
Russell Westbrook is out. I think OKC matches up well with the Houston Rockets. And, I mean, I haven't liked what I've seen from the Rockets with just James Harden. And him carrying an offensive load for the whole series without Russell Westbrook.
He's been doing it for years, bro. What's different?
Yeah, but he hasn't won it doing it.
Yeah, but he's gotten out of the first round.
Yeah, but this is a good Thunder team.
It's an okay.
And Chris Paul led Thunder team. And this is my upset in the Western Conference. I really like the trio of Chris Paul, SGA, and Dennis Schroeder. I think that's good enough to match any Rockets small ball lineup you throw out there. I just think the Thunder match up incredibly well against the Rockets. I mean, if the Rockets were playing Mavericks or Jazz, I would have the Rockets winning, but I just don't like them matched up against the Thunder.
That's all.
Thunder have had their number this year, so.
Well, that ends. Comes playoff time.
All right, Mr. Blazers in 7.
Hey, Blazers might win in 4. They might be sending LeBron James and Anthony Davis packing. All right. So I'm just curious if, say my picks come to fruition, which I probably won't. Just say they do. Say Blazers do pull it out. Say the Mavs pull it out.
This is a dark path we're walking on right now.
Seriously, if this happens, how does the NBA landscape change when you're regarding the Lakers and Clippers? Do you blow it up? What happens?
I say you don't blow it up just because of how strange the conditions are right now. Like we've seen in the bubble, like the Nets were able to turn it around in the bubble when they have like a G League team going.
Yeah.
So this is just a weird circumstance. So I say don't blow it up. Only looking at a bunch of these teams, I say Sixers will blow it up no matter what. I think Blazers will blow it up no matter what.
Pelicans. We haven't really talked about it because obviously they're not really relevant.
I'm just looking at the playoff teams right now.
Well, yeah, but we'll talk about this right after.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. And I see the Rockets blowing it up.
Well, so Rockets blow it up every year, though. That's what's incredible about James Harden. I'm sorry. He basically has a new roster almost every year. and he's still able to lead his. That's why I have him over Anthony Davis, where Anthony Davis could not get it.
Buckets.
The dude, I can't say enough good things about James Harden.
I haven't seen enough from Anthony Davis for me to put him in the top 5. He still struggles on his own to lead teams to playoffs, and I feel like that's a big indicator of a top 10 player.
Agreed.
If you put him on any roster, he puts them in playoff contention, and I can't see that with Anthony Davis yet.
I saw a thing
just with the Pelicans.
They're like, there's only I think the guy had it as 6 pure superstars in the NBA. And he had LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry, James Harden. And there might have been one more.
Dame?
He did not have Dame.
Did you say Giannis already?
Giannis. I think those were the 6 he had, which I'm in full agreement with. We're talking about pure superstars. Yeah. All right, let's talk about, since we're kind of talking about blowing it up, one team particularly has not waited and has blown up. The New Orleans Pelicans, there's a lot of talk. Alvin Gentry is out as the New Orleans head coach. This is kind of, I would have fired him last year when you bring in Zion just to start, new kind of deal. I kind of hate when you actually kind of see this a lot where teams will keep a coach after already bringing in a quarterback, or this is all leagues, and then they fire that coach after 1 year with that new star player. So, questionable move. Depends who they come in to replace. I saw that they want to keep Brandon Ingram, and they believe that they can. But there's also rumors that Lonzo might be on the outs.
Yeah, I saw those rumors too.
Because apparently Lonzo has been disconnected since arriving in the bubble.
And I'm a big Lonzo guy. I think you can still develop into a solid point guard. Yeah,
but I think, and I don't know Lonzo personally. He's my age. I don't know him personally, but he kind of comes off the way it looks, and he just looks like a distant guy. More of a quieter, nothing wrong with this, but he's more quiet, not as he kind of looks pissed off all the time to me. Big RBF
yeah, because his dad's saying he's the best player in the world since he was 17.
Well, now he's saying that about the youngest player too, his youngest brother.
Yeah.
But him and LaMelo are so different. LaMelo's really big, really big personality, very lively dude, fun kid. Lonzo just looks like he's not having fun out there. Lonzo looks like he could give 2 Fs about playing basketball. Now, he might, again, I don't know him. He probably loves the sport. I'm not saying he doesn't. But it's hard to have that kind of energy around the team a lot, especially when it's your point guard. So you could see a move where I don't know where they would send Lonzo to. I don't even know what's a dream spot for him. But they send Lonzo off. It'll be interesting to see if they get rid of Drew Holiday.
I think you have, because I think Holiday's gone when his contract's up, so you need to get some trade value for him before he leaves.
So I think he has 2 years left on his deal, maybe even including this year. So you might only have 1 more year since the season's over. So you might only have 1 more year. I think you have to send him somewhere that's a title contender. I tell you what, tell me if I'm crazy. I don't even know how the cap works. You make another deal with the Lakers. You send Drew over to Lake Town, Title Town.
You reconnect Kuz with his other
other teammates. Maybe that's how it works. maybe you work a package because they were hoping Kuz was the guy that could be that third option. I think Drew Holiday could be that third option. I have way more confidence of Drew being that third option over Kuz.
I think it's more realistic that the Lakers go for Derrick Rose, but I like where you're going with.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would work out, but I would love to see Holiday with the Lakers.
Yeah, and something like they have to go and get a guard that can score consistently. I just think Drew's a better shooter than Derrick. I trust Drew as a shooter and a better defender. So I think he consistently could give you more than what Derrick can give you. But I like Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
I think
Derrick for cheaper.
I think Derrick, you can get him for cheaper, and you also. I think he needs the ball in his hands more than Drew does.
I think Derrick has been able to develop some type of off ball. I don't want to say off ball, but non-dominant with how his injuries have happened. I mean, he's been able to play in multiple cities without being the guy. And I just feel like him being in Detroit has allowed him to become a sixth man. Because if he's traded to the Lakers, I see Derrick Rose as the sixth man. LeBron and AD go and get some rest. End of the first, start of the second, Derrick Rose comes in and can get you some buckets and help with the offense.
Let's talk about a little what if with these Pelicans. He's like, all right, so let's play this scenario, okay? They keep Brandon Ingram. They sign Brandon Ingram to a long-term deal. You have Brandon Ingram, you have Zion. They're building around that. Say the rumors are true that this Lonzo thing isn't really working out. Say they tried to ship Lonzo. I don't know what you could get for Lonzo. I feel like his trade value has gone down. So maybe a late first, something like that, one of these teams.
If even that.
If that, and that's pushing it. So where would you, all right, and let's say they are going to, I love Drew. Say they do move from Drew Holiday. Where do you want to see Drew Holiday end up, and where do you think Lonzo would end up a team? What's the scenarios? Where do you?
Sorry, I'm looking around the league now.
Just off the top of your head.
Well, you would definitely have to have Holiday with a contender.
Yeah.
So Lakers are like the easy team that comes in mind. I'm trying to figure out a situation where you could send Holiday to the Lakers.
That is your team though, just like how.
Yeah, but if the Rockets continue with this small ball lineup, I feel like Holiday would fit well with that.
With Russell and James?
I mean, they're height of 6'5", so.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I guess Harden is basically playing a point center at this point, right? Like,
I mean, Utah could use Holiday, but
Holiday will look good.
Just looking, Lakers are probably the best bet. Actually, no. Let me say the Miami Heat.
I was thinking about Miami.
I still say Lakers are the best, but Miami to me would be a good second.
We don't think that the Bucks can make a move if they fall short.
I mean, they could, but I feel like Holiday isn't the difference maker. I think the Bucks need either a solid point guard like Chris Paul, or they need a second playmaker. Because although I love Middleton, he's not someone who can go and get you buckets in the fourth quarter.
You don't think Drew could be that guy?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fair.
I think Holiday would just be the same as like Bledsoe, just a better defender.
What if you send Holiday back to Philadelphia?
I don't think that makes him a contender, really.
You don't think the Pelicans could send? Crazy idea.
Let's hear it.
And I don't know if the contracts line up, but you send Drew Holiday, maybe Josh Hart, and either a first or whatever for Ben Simmons.
Get him back into the 76ers.
You get shooter Josh Hart.
You could do that, but the Pelicans would then have a real lack of three-point shooting because Zion's not a good three-point shooter. Simmons isn't a good three-point shooter. You lose shooting with Lonzo's not a good three-point shooter.
Well, yeah, but you would have in this scenario, you're getting rid of Lonzo as well. And,
say the trade again. I may have missed.
Well, not in this one, but you're sending Lonzo somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
I was just talking about So you have Ben, you have Ingram, and you have Zion to build around.
Mm-hmm.
Surround them with shooters. I feel like it's so easy to say surround him with shooters, but nobody does it. But surround him with shooters.
But when you have just Simmons, you're really clogging the court. You can't have two court cloggers in like Simmons and Zion though, because we saw how it worked out with Embiid, and they've gone to the second round and have been able to push past that. And it was second round in a weaker Eastern Conference.
Were you on the show that I was talking about with the Pacers, what the Pacers should do? Or is that just all that?
No.
So I was thinking, because they were talking about the Cavaliers' trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
That report came out. If I was the Pacers, because the Pacers can't really sign any free agent outright, right? Mm-hmm. Because nobody really wants to go to Indy. It's kind of similar with the Cavs scenario. They really have to go and get a guy. And they have to trade for him if they really want a guy. What if the Pacers trade Sabonis and Brogdon for Ben? Pairs. So if you're the
I really like Brogdon with Embiid.
76ers, you get Brogdon, who's a really good 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
You get Sabonis, who can stretch the floor, who doesn't have to clog the middle. You get Embiid, you get Tobias, you get Thibault or Shake or Richardson, whoever wants to start at the 2 guard. What do you think? I liked it. And then Pacers get a guy who could, if he wanted to, be a top 10 player, and then pairing up with Victor.
I like it, but I feel like you're giving up a whole bunch for Simmons.
Well, yeah, but it's just we agree that Simmons could easily be a top 10 player.
Yeah, I think Oladipo's contract is up this year.
After 2021.
It's 2021?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Same with Drew. Yeah. Because that's why the Heat are thinking about going after Victor, Giannis, and everybody in the 2021 free agency, apparently.
Because Simmons, Oladipo, Warren, I guess you have to have a power forward fill that spot for Sabonis, and then you have Turner.
The only reason why I'm saying this is because the Pacers have to get, if they really want a star player, they either have to hit in the draft or trade for him.
Mm-hmm. And
the Pacers don't draft low enough ever to get that guy that's going to be instant moneymaker like a Luka, Trey, Tatum. They don't draft that high.
Mm-hmm.
So they're always drafting like 15 between 20 or 15 between 25, depending on the year. It's just like, I don't know. It was just because, they do get Brogdon, they get Sabonis. I think the Sabonis thing would be tough. Maybe you could offer like a TJ Warren, move Tobias back to power.
Mm-hmm.
And so you give them TJ, you give them Brogdon. I don't know. But I don't think that's enough for you. You'd have to include an all-star for Ben. So that's why I would say Sabonis.
Yeah, there's always some random team that pops up and gets a player. Like, no one expected Paul George to go to the Clippers
or OKC.
Like
that's what I'm saying. Like
with these trades, it's always you always plan out the most like the easy fit teams and kind of like the ones you would expect to make the moves. But there's always those random teams that just go out and get a player.
But OKC is a similar scenario where the Pacers, where they're kind of always winning, they're always competitive, so they had to go trade, and nobody's really going to go there in free agency, so you had to go and trade for that guy, Paul George.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If I was the Pacers, and they already signed Ben Simmons to like a 5-year deal, so you would have Ben Simmons for the majority of his prime, at least the beginning part of it, a lot of it. So I like that trade. Same for if I was Cleveland, though, I don't know. Well, if I'm 76ers, I don't want Sexton. I don't want is it Garland? I don't want Garland.
Garland's look good though.
Just because you want guys that are kind of either entering their prime or in their prime with Embiid. So because Sexton and Garland are still kind of finding their way.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it would be hard to convince me to take that trade. I like those players. I'm a Sexton guy. I'm a young bull.
Sexton guy. Yeah.
Big Sexton guy. But like again, they're not in their prime yet, and they're still developing. So it'd be harder. You want guys that can compete right away. Hence the Brogdon. It's the Sabonis. Sabonis is only 24 years old. Him and Embiid can literally grow up together, just like how him and Simmons kind of are.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of scenarios, bro.
There's just so many different scenarios that you could pop around. Like if I'm the Thunder, I strongly consider trading Chris Paul and getting some value for him.
Yeah, you get some picks. That's why I do like the
even though they have a plethora of picks and stuff, why not have more? And you can just grab a bunch of those picks and make a run at a star. Because the Thunder have so many options, but I don't want them to end up like the Celtics, where they had all these picks and a lot of them they wasted. But they could have made a run at like Kawhi, like or the Raptors did, and get a championship. Yeah, they could have made a run at one of these players. And yeah, you may have had to give up Jaylen Brown or something, but imagine like Kemba, Tatum, AD.
Well, that's why it's so hard to. Well, I rather have Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and AD versus Kemba.
Yeah, you would have had to probably trade Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, because that was before they even had Kemba. I agree. That's why you have to go if you want a guy, and the Raptors showed that it works. It depends. What do you value more? Do you value instant success and championships, or because you can't? It's kind of like how I tell people you can't lose weight and gain muscle. You can't trim down and gain muscle at the same time. It's like physically impossible. You can't build for the future and also compete for your championship at the same time. It's almost impossible. So, yes, there's probably outliers, but like at the majority of the time, you're either contending or you're buying. You know?
Yeah, I respect the teams that make that move for a championship, because when you look at the Raptors, this is why I hate when people say, and like Grant especially, when they say Kawhi Leonard isn't a top 5 player, because the Raptors had a great record for like 5 straight years, but they always lost in the playoffs to LeBron James, or they always had this roadblock in the playoffs, even though like one year they like pushed 60 wins.
Yeah.
And it was DeMar and Kyle, and they got swept.
By LeBron.
But not even the best Cavs team. It was the last year of LeBron.
It was a struggling Cavs team for sure.
It was a struggling Cavs team, and they still got swept, even though they had the best record in the East.
1,000% agree.
Yeah, and that's why you have to make these moves for these Kawhi Leonard types. Even if you just get them for 1 year, I'd rather have that one championship and say you went all in than to be stuck in that weird mediocrity of losing in the second round. You'll still have a playoff team year in and year out, but I'd rather have one chance at a championship than 5 or 6, like one chance championship. And Raptors are lucky enough to where they're still a really good team.
Yeah.
But if I could just get one chance at the finals and then not make the playoffs for like 5 or 6 years, I'd rather have that than make the playoffs for 7 years and have like a 25% or like a 15 to 20% chance at the championship. Like I'd rather have that guaranteed shot, which I feel like teams don't capitalize on that.
All right.
That's why I don't want the Thunder to get complacent and just draft and then let players walk or do something like that. They need to trade and make a run at stars, because they've got Shea, who's going to be, I think, an all-star at one point. If he develops a 3-point shot and you develop some trade for some great players around him, that's a dangerous Thunder team. And you're definitely going to get something for Chris Paul. I don't know what that something will be, but he's still an all-star. He can still help a team win it all. So if a team like a Thunder make it, I think they'll be a contender if they make a true run at a superstar.
All right. I didn't want to cut Broderick off, but there's definitely no more video. This is purely audio. Thank you guys for being with us on episode 17 of X's and O's with Evan and Bros. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Find us at Curbside Entertainment Network on the YouTubes. Thank you guys. Here's that outro. I didn't want to catch you up, brother. I love what you were saying.
I wish we could have talked about UFC.
Well, and the NCAA head doctors, or chief doctors, very concerned about the heart. So, all right, everybody. Peace.